Hi everybody, welcome once again to a low on health rambling where I kind of go over what I've been doing the last past couple days or so. Today is Tuesday, April 20th of 2010. Time's around 1:35 p.m. I've been kind of getting myself in a normal schedule of kind of sleeping. Did the bike ride again, almost doing that daily now, doing my little bike ride down to Sims Park. Basically, whenever I wake up, have a little breakfast, and then kind of go out and do that to get kind of some exercise and get myself into a daily regimen. What else I got here? Been doing kind of some research on Apple products. Recently, there was a big should-do with Gizmondo or Engadget, one of them getting like the newest iPhone, and Apple security kind of diminishing, or a dude leaving the phone at the bar, and then somebody finding it and getting it to people to actually dissect it and see it's a new iPhone, which is kind of cool and all. I mean, actually, I've been looking into a new Apple product. Been actually looking into the not getting because I don't have any money, but interested in the iPod Touch because apparently you can use the iPod Touch as a Skype phone, which is kind of cool. I mean, I'm kind of looking for an all-in-one device that plays music, has like a Wi-Fi, decent web browser. It can also be used as a Skype phone, but mainly almost the thing that keeps me from doing the iPod Touch is it doesn't have a camera. And I kind of want something that has like a camera all in one, which is kind of like what the iPhone does, but once again, that's kind of like, $500. I mean, at that point, I might as well get an iPad or something stupid. But it was just really interesting to kind of see all that information going down. And right now I'm just going to go over kind of some of the things I've been doing recently. I've been doing a lot of watching of stuff, kind of been a lull in the gaming week. But let's go ahead and get this started. Moving on, the first thing, I watched this movie called Namaste London, which is kind of a classic Bollywood film, in which case a girl born and raised in London but of Indian descent. Her parents want her to be kind of more of a traditional Indian person. They want her to marry an Indian guy. They end up taking her back to India and coercing her into getting married, which is actually, for me, screams against human rights violations. If anything, this movie kind of reminded me of Knocked Out. It kind of just had that mentality of, basically nurture versus nature. Basically, people that live in their, environment, i.e., she being born and raised in London, and her parents trying to force on her, like, her traditional, family heritage lifestyle. And I just didn't really like that whatsoever, and it just kind of really doesn't. I don't like it when people are forced in situations they don't want to do. And of course, this one basically has her at the very end, not to spoil it for people, but her realizing that, hey, the guy they forced her to marry is actually a good guy, and the guy she liked in London wasn't really that great of a guy, and he ends up running off with that guy. And I was just like, whatever. I really hate that type of mentality of, the good guy, not necessarily the good guy wins out, but just, hey, you were forced into something, now deal with it. Oh, now your life's better. That's how it is. But it's a classic Bollywood film. It does run really, really long, like over 2 hours. But it's, has the classic Bollywood production and, dance numbers, and, it's a decent little film to watch. I definitely like kind of some type of London stuff, and this is a nice little cultural film of India and London. It's not going to apply to most of us Americans, but interesting nonetheless. Moving on here, I've also watched this Red Letter Media guy. He's been doing, he's the guy you've probably heard of that's done the really big review, the long review of Phantom Menace. In which case it's like, a 9-part, 10-minute, each, basically part of him breaking apart Phantom Menace, Star Wars Phantom Menace. And he does it for basically Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and all the new Star Trek Next Generation movies. He has a bunch of, basically little reviews here. And they're kind of, he plays a bait character as he reviews these. But he basically brings up a lot of plot holes and just bad directing and bad acting choices. And it's really fun. I mean, a lot of people have talked to me about this. I didn't really enjoy it, think it was going to be that great. But I really enjoy kind of plowing through these, and they make some really good, insightful points on these movies and just how not great they are. So yeah, Red Letter Media, check it out. It's very, very funny and informative. Moving on here, apparently Capcom has had a big Capcom day, and they've been releasing a bunch of information, in which case, kind of the biggest news to me is that basically Dead Rising 2 will feature solid 2-player co-op through the whole main story mission, which I really, really enjoy. Too bad it's not 4, but what can you do? 2's better than nothing. And it's very cool because I'm really very, very interested in Dead Rising 2. Love the first one, and now there's going to be co-op. It's going to be that much more awesome. They also did a trailer for it, too, out of this event. Of course, another one of the big news from this Capcom event that's been happening is that, bam, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the fighting game, is going to happen, which people have been clamoring for years. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is probably, like a lot of people's, definitive best favorite fighting game, and now there's going to be Marvel vs. Capcom 3, in which case I'm going to play a little bit of the trailer here. Me personally, I'm not big into fighting games. Like I said, I tried Street Fighter 4, didn't really get into it, and it looks like this is almost going to kind of go up the whole Street Fighter, you know, for aesthetic, kind of the cel shaded 3D-ish look. But a lot of people are just super mega happy that this is happening, and it seems very, very cool. And of course, it's 2011, which is going to be sometime next year. But with the popularity of this type of series, people have been clamoring for it forever. And let me just scroll down here real quick. They have some production pictures of people thinking who the silhouettes of people in the background are. And it looks like there's going to be maybe Frank West in it. Dante could be in it. But it definitely has, you know, the Resident Evil characters and Wolverine and kind of Iron Man, kind of the more favorite of the people. And who knows who else they're going to be. They have a very big catalog of people to pull from the Marvel vs. Capcom universe. I know a lot of people are excited about it. We'll see what happens. We got a year or so. You know, it's probably going to be good no matter what. Moving on here. The new season of Doctor Who apparently started, and I was actually not even really noticing it. I had to pick up on episode 1 and 2 with the new Doctor and the new companion. In which case, the new companion very much reminds me of the Gwen Cooper Gwen Cooper from the Torchwood, kind of the main protagonist, Torchwood character, where she's kind of got, you know, confidence in her. She's kind of sassy and smart. But so far, I mean, I haven't been digging it. Ironically, whenever I think of the past 3 Doctor Who episodes, whenever I think of Doctor Who, of the new Doctor Who, the new Doctor character, I still think of David Tennant. Like when I think of it, granted he's not him, but whenever I think back on the episodes, I just think it's him giving the lines. And one thing that kind of irked me already with the new Doctor Who is they're already rehashing everything from the previous Doctor Who. He's not really adding that new stuff. Like they have the Don't Blink Angels, and then actually the Daleks have already been reintroduced in the 3rd episode, which is kind of aggravating to me, in which case there's actually going to be a new Doctor Who game, which of course isn't going to be that great because it's, you know, a Doctor Who game and, you know, whatever. But the problem is this game basically looks like it's going to follow the new Dalek arc, in which case I've mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of these new Daleks. I don't really like the way they look. They're all kind of color-coded. It just seems very hackneyed. But it looks like this game's actually revolve around it. But I really don't know what to think about this new Doctor Who series. I don't really think too much about this game. But who knows what's going to happen. Doctor Who, like I said, I didn't like the new Doctor Who with the 9th Doctor whatsoever. And I didn't watch it. And it wasn't until Torchwood and, you know, Captain Jack that basically I was like, oh, cool, you know. And then it made me actually go back and rewatch everything with David Tennant. And I loved it. So who knows what's going to happen. But not really digging the new Doctor Who, but that's just me. Let's go ahead and just real quick move on to the game FAQ reviews. In which case, this one, what time do you normally wake up in the morning? And because I've done kind of a 2-tiered morning now, I'm going to say noon or later, which ironically is kind of like the 3rd most popular one here. I mean, in which case, you know, 6 to 8 is kind of the majority, mostly school kids and whatnot. But my sleep schedule basically waking up whenever, going to sleep whenever, but kind of a 2-tiered system now of 2 sleep cycles. Moving on to the other day polls. Do you take portable game systems when you travel? I don't travel at all, in which case, if I did, I wouldn't even take my PSP if I did travel. If I had a DS, I probably would. In which case, actually, if you look, a lot of people here, they don't take games when they travel whatsoever. Yes, more than one is actually a good chunk too, which is interesting. I mean, honestly, if I had an iPod Touch, I'd probably take that with me if I traveled, just because I'm really looking at it as being a one-and-all device. Moving on here, Gamefly. Just kind of stream through this. I did send back Monster Hunter, and they did get it, and I do have Halo ODST. Funny thing about Halo ODST, we're kind of plowing through the firefight, getting the achievements and whatnot. Because of my sleep schedule, I'm not always awake, so I kind of have my Xbox Live friends basically told them, hey, you know, if all 3 people are on and you need a 4th person for Halo ODST, just give me a call. It'll wake me up, and I'll just turn on my 360. You know, just do that. I won't even check if you're online. I won't even check for messages. I'll turn on my TV, turn on my 360, and get into gaming. But don't abuse that ability. Don't just call me for S&Gs. Because I'm not going to pick up the phone because that costs money, but I can see who called me. And then I usually just jump on whoever called me, and I have an idea of what they want me to do. I'll either jump online, give them a call through Skype, or I'll hop on Xbox Live and play ODST. In which case, we're thoroughly enjoying that and waiting for the beta that's going to come out in about a week or so. Now, the next game I'm going to be getting is going to be Nier, which is going to be coming out next week. Interested to see that change from the 29th to probably the 27th or something. But, you know, not thinking too much of the game, but something new to play. And then 3D Dot Heroes and Red Dead Redemption are the next ones on the list. Lastly, I like to, of course, mention Low on Health, which is, you know, what this is all about, kind of. I basically did a new batch of reviews, in which case I've been playing way too much and not running enough, in which case this is kind of a hodgepodge of games I've played recently. But this is basically my reviews for Resonance of Fate, Just Cause 2, and Splinter Cell are up. in which case I actually only beat one of those games, in which case, read it to find out. And actually, the one game I did beat is the game that I rated the lowest, which is kind of ironic. The two games I didn't beat, I gave a higher review than the game I did beat. In which case, my reviews don't necessarily mean much. I mean, they kind of give an overall value of the game, but not necessarily how much time I put into them or kind of how much I enjoy them. It kind of goes more from a technical standpoint, which is kind of interesting now that I'm realizing, reviews aren't everything, but even now that I do my reviews this way. But other than that, that's really about it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching as always, and I might be doing these more often because I'm actually starting to run out of figures to put up here. And what I might end up doing in the future is kind of do games, just pick old games, stack them up, and just do them one at a time on these reviews. So maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. We'll see what goes on. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.